All right. So this next section is going to go over some reports that we have that either KDE has built for you all, or if Infinite Campus has built for us. And then we also have some enhancements that we're going to be talking about as well. So the first one is the student participation report. This is the biggie that everybody is looking at right now, since we're going to be pulling that on Monday, on the 11th. So right now, we actually have two reports that that you all probably really need to be looking at. And the two reports is going to be the aggregate report and then the student participation report. We also have a lot of districts right now who are asking us which report should they be running and how often should they be running. And so the aggregate report, me personally, if I was still in the district, I would be running it weekly. And that's just to see if schools, or if you have any schools in your district that are struggling with participation entry. And that, you can reach out to your clerks or your principal and see, hey, your participation is low right now. Do you have anything going on, that we need to be worried about, or do I need to send help or anything like that? Your student participation report, that can be run weekly or daily. That's what I would be doing if I was still in the district. And that's going to find students who are struggling with no participation. And then your clerks, your attendance clerks can be running that as well. If they do not have access to this report, I do recommend that they do have access, and that can help you all as a DPP or whoever your system admins. And so they can run this as well to help out the teachers and say, hey, this is your list for this week. Johnny has not participated at all this week, so let's reach out to him and see what's going on. The participation monitor report. This is a new report that KDE built and was released in the last campus update. This report looks very similar to your classroom monitor. If attendance clerks are on here and this is exactly what you see when you bring up your classroom monitor. This report helps schools monitor classroom participation, tracking by teachers, courses, and sections. This report also includes all grade levels applicable to the school from kindergarten all the way to the 14th grade, and includes all periods, even those periods outside the school standard day.
All right, Josh, I'm going to jump in on this one real quick.
Absolutely.
Kind of tell on ourselves a little bit. Not really tell on ourselves. If we have people out there who are saying, ooh, I'd like to see this participation monitor report, I'm going to look at it right now. Remember, you have to have access to it, like Josh said about the other reports. I will tell you that we were notified earlier today that we had one district who said this was working perfectly for me before the break, and it won't return for me today. So we are troubleshooting that a little bit. We did look into it. We were able to get it to run in a couple of other districts. So I think that maybe something's just going on specifically with connection or whatnot in that one district. We're going to keep working with them. But if either of these reports you kind of go in and it isn't returning, or it's taking too long to return, shoot us an email. Like Josh said, this participation monitor report was created here at KDE. Lovely folks down in OET helped us with it. And the student participation report that was on the previous screen was one of the great reports that IC made for us. So at first, I would suggest make sure you're not trying to run it for kind of too huge of a period. I would mess with those date ranges a little bit to see if you can get it to return a little bit better. But you should be able to run the student participation report for all schools and get the district-wide total that we will be pulling on Monday. And the participation monitor report is one day at a time. So you should be able to run that and use it like you would your classroom monitor. So just wanted to put a little plug in there. If you're having some issues, kind of wave the red flag, and we'll see what we can do to help.
And I will also say on the participation monitor report, that's going to be under Kentucky State Reporting, KDE reports, and then the participation monitor. And also this report is to run for one day at a time. So here you can see it was ran on 11/2/2020. It's not one that can run for a week. It's just going to be one day at a time.
And they did a great job with this report because it's, I think it's in some ways a little bit more helpful, because those cells, they will light up pink or red or whatever that is if that teacher has not posted participation at all. So hopefully that'll be a quick check for you to be able to see, okay, Miss Carlton doesn't have her act together today. She hasn't put anything in, if I was teaching whatever that is, algebra. So.
Yep. And then the next, it's not really a report, but it's the classroom monitor. Again, that path is going to be under attendance and then classroom monitor. Attendance clerks look at this report or this screen every morning when they're doing in-person attendance to make sure that all students or teachers have marked attendance. But Infinite Campus, within the last, I can't remember if it's the last update or the update before, they made an enhancement so that attendance clerks, principals, system admins, DPPs, they are now can go in at the bottom here, and now they can click on if the student participated or not. Before, it was just for teachers only. The teachers are the only one that could go in and correct this. But Infinite Campus said that they had enough people to submit tickets for enhancements on this, and so they have fixed this where anyone who has access to this, read and write access to this, that can go in and mark participated for the participation side of it. And then just a quick slide on January participation report. All participation attendance needs to be posted no later or has to be posted before leaving today on January 8th. All that data will be then sent over to our warehouse for KDE to pull their January participation report on Monday, which is the 11th. This report will be pulling two reports. Report 1 will be coming from October 1st through December 31st. And then report 2 will be the first day of school through December 31st. So you'll actually see two reports over here on the right-hand side. And then this, the link to this is just on our KDE website, and it's under the DPP section where we host the calendars and all the DPP web links that we have. And right. I think that is.
And before you go in, I want to talk about this January report real quick.
Okay.
So, yes, we are pulling this on Monday, but we do not want to give anybody any undue stress about this.
Yes.
So we will say, when we pull this, we look over this first. We don't just pull this report and post it out there. If you pull this for the first time today, and I haven't seen any of this, but something went horribly wrong and your district-wide participation is sitting at 48%. Do not stress yourself over that one second. We are not going to post that out there with, XYZ district 48% participation. Something has obviously gone wrong if we see that. We'll give you a call. We'll work with you. We won't post that number. This is still very new to everybody, and we're working through it. So yes, we want you to check it. Yes, we want you to work to get it the best you can. But if there is an issue, shoot us an email. We'll work through it. We'll figure out what's going on. And, we have to post some data. So if we have to post it and just say, we're fixing this and we'll get back to it, that's what we'll do. So don't think that, I don't want anybody trying to manually fix, 3 schools of kids with participation all weekend just because you think, Jesse and Josh are pulling this on Monday. I have to get it right. We'll work with you. It's still very, very new, and we won't post anything that's going to put your district in a bad light when we know that you all have been trying very diligently to get this in and use the new protocols.
Yes.
So.
And then here's our KDE support staff. Feel free to reach out to any of us. Jesse's who is our assistant director, and then Rhonda's our branch manager, and then the rest of our team. And that's all that I have.
I do think we have some other questions on this section.
A couple questions. Go ahead. I'll let you just go ahead with them.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Are districts using their own protocols for virtual learning participation, or is it state protocols? Are districts allowing students to be counted present if they show up for even a minute, if they turn in anything for the week, etc.? Okay, this is kind of a big loaded question here. It's a little of both. I'll have to say. I don't know, and we may need to pull. I'm probably going to pull David Cook in on this before we put an official answer out here. there's the state guidance on what counts as participation. You know, those 4 methods for virtual participation. As of right now, because with attendance working the way it works, there is no half-day, whole-day attendance. So if that student does come in the building and he or she is in for a minute, 5 minutes, whatever it is, that's going to generate attendance for that day, which will be counted as participation. As far as asking if they turn in something, will it count for the week? I believe there is some guidance on the NTI side that when you did your NTI application, there was some guidance there about how paper packets, there should be work for each day, and it's not, there's some guidance there. So we have had some districts that have made some guidelines that are much more stringent than what we're doing here at KDE to pull the participation report, because like I said, if you're any in-person attendance, it counts, and any one participation for the day, that'll be reflected in the participation report. But there are other districts that have done made their requirements a little bit more stringent before they will mark it. So I hope that helps. Okay, there was another question and it just moved.
Yeah,
Dee Dee,
we have a couple that moved. Somebody
Okay.
danced them up. And that's good because it raises them to the top, but it's hard for us to keep up with them sometimes when they jump like that.
And I think I'm crazy.
So one of the questions is, will participation be pulled for the technical schools?
Okay. No, participation is not going to be pulled for the technical schools, because the technical schools, and I think you're talking about the ATCs that operate under the KTS data exchange, and the ones that operate through
CTC.
yes, thank you, CTCs. They have decided that they are not using the blended learning groups. So they are still using just regular attendance, even if they're not in person. So because of that, we won't be pulling that into this report. So that shouldn't be going into your district total. If for some reason we put it out there and it is, and it's bringing your district total down, like I said, let us know. It's not our, we don't believe that it should be in there.
Okay, the next one is on the participation data pool for virtual performance courses. We are not showing participation for term 2 because our term 2 will not end until January 15th. Is that an issue?
No, those should not be those classes and courses that are still open. The way that report works is they will not be included in the totals until that course is finished and that grade is posted. Those virtual classes will work with participation just like attendance used to work. If you pass the course, you got attendance for the whole time on the SAR side. It's designed to work the same way. So it's on the report so you can kind of keep track of them and keep up with them and know who's in there and how many kiddos you have, just all performance-based, virtual performance-based, but it won't affect your district-wide numbers if those courses are still open or ongoing. No.
All right. So can you please restate what report you are pulling on Monday and where is this located in Infinite Campus? So you might just go back to that slide. Yeah. I was supposed to control and did it, but on my presentation.
That's all right. All right, there we go. Okay, this is the report we're pulling on Monday, and we're going to pull it. And we'll go to the next slide. We're going to pull the aggregate report here. Under report type, it won't say student participation, it'll say aggregate, and we're going to pull it for 2 date ranges, because the way it was broken down this year, we have some kind of different reporting periods. We're going to pull this from 7/1 until 12/31, so the whole first semester. We want to see what you did, and then we're going to pull it from 10/1 to 12/31, because if you remember back in October, we pulled it up through September 30th. So we're going to get, the 2 separate chunks and then the 1 chunk all together. So that's what we're pulling. And I think, Josh, if you'll go on a couple screens later, if you all have this presentation, I think you do, right there are the time periods, and you should be able to put those dates in right there and make it an aggregate report and pick all those schools that apply and see the number that you need. But I will note that make sure you're picking all schools up in the top bar of campus, because picking all schools is what gets you that district total line of everything rolled up together. So you're not having to try and, take all of that stuff in Excel and aggregate it up and figure out what your district total is.
Yep.
Let IC do the work.
There you go. All right, so that we don't have any other questions. We do still have time. We've got about 15 minutes left. So if anybody does have questions, this is a great time to enter them into Soapbox. app.gosoapbox.com, and it's KDE data is the, we give a few more minutes. We told folks we would not jump ahead, although I'm very tempted at 3 o'clock in the afternoon just to go on. Especially that last session's mine. I'm not seeing anything else come in.
Okay. Well,
Hey, Dee Dee. Okay, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Josh.
Just looking over my email, I've had some that's emailed me individually. This was talking about the Monday, Tuesday off Wednesday, and then Thursday, Friday, the hybrid schedules. And so this is talking about the school participation plan. And so we're just going to go over that real fast. So if you're on the Monday, Tuesday, and then school is in NTI on Wednesday, and then you're back in school on Thursday and Friday, the school participation plan does not have to change for the Wednesday. You will just roll right on. Don't even worry about that during that time. The only time you need to worry about that is if you're going to be off more than a week or more.
Thank you.
I know we've cut you a little short here. I thought we would have a few more questions. Sorry. If you want to roll on, we will be happy to sit here in case anybody else rolls in with some questions.
Okay.
So we don't totally cut them out. So maybe we can kind of have best of both worlds here.
I've got some reminders I can go ahead and go through before I get to the supplemental slides, so we can transition there and then check the Q&A again.
All right, we'll hang out. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you all both. Appreciate it. Lots of good information, and thank you for all the support you provided the districts all year. Whoops, got a question. Does anyone else have issues with Kentucky Daily attendance? Whereas, like my child, she has only been absent 2 days, but says that she's been absent 20 days because of being virtual and only having certain courses certain days.
Yes,
Okay.
that is a known issue across the state.
It depends a lot on how you have everything set up. Because, especially with these rotating schedules, there are some A/B schedules that people are running that, your student may not be scheduled to be in 4th through 6th period the whole day, but because of the way that the schedule was originally set up and changes that weren't made when all of these changes came, they're marking participation for periods 1 through 3 on a Monday. And then just because the teacher isn't seeing them periods 4 through 6, they're getting an NCVP code. But the participation report is correct, and they were engaged that day, and they were spending the whole day with periods 1 through 3. Well, because the system wasn't changed, it's still rolling over to the student's daily attendance tab and saying they missed periods 4 through 6. And the longer you go in the year, that is just kind of snowball. There's little bitty pieces that keep adding up and adding up. So, student may have only missed 2 days, the full day event absence code was put in, but all of those other little pieces are going to add up. I will say that some districts, once again, district choice, have decided to turn that attendance portion off for things such as transcripts and other things like that, because it's going to look very odd depending on your setup. If you'd like to reach out to us, we can see if we can help you troubleshoot and make it the best it can be. But just, I hate to say it, there's a lot of scenarios where it's just not going to look as perfect as it normally does.
I'm glad you brought up the transcript. We do not include attendance on the electronic transcript, okay. But I know there are districts that do have attendance on their paper transcripts.
Yes.
So I think it probably would be a really good year to turn that off. So if you have any questions on whether you're doing that or not, you might want to check with your high school counselors and make sure that that has been turned off and not printing on the transcripts.
Right. And I know it's something that's nice to have everything set and not touch it. But I think this year, especially with what's going on, it may be worth touching it because you know, like I said, you don't want a student doing what they've been, you know, scheduled to do and correctly being there when they need to be there, but it still look like they have absences just because of the nature of the schedule that they're on.
All right. We do have another question for you. Are you saying that we can now make changes to the attendance posting start date under the virtual attendance preferences? If so, can that date be changed, updated, weekly, monthly, question mark?
That attendance posting start date, if you want to change, that was the date that we had asked for it to be set to the first day of school. And it's a lot of data now that's being written every time it runs. So yes, if you want to move that so that if you're happy with everything that has happened in the first semester and you would like to move that out to 1/1 or any other time, or if you'd like to, you know, let it go a month and then get everything kind of where you want it and then change it, that's fine. You just, I want to caution, make sure you 100% know what you're doing there. You do need to leave it turned on so that it is posting something. We have had some districts trying to, you know, leave it on for a little while and then turn it off and then leave it on. You kind of don't want to do that because, you know, you want to make sure teachers get in the habit and everything is posting at the same time, either daily or weekly, and they kind of know what to expect. But if you want to start moving that out, if you think, you know, if you're, especially if you're a larger district and it helps with any of your, you know, runtime or anything, you can do that. But just make sure you understand when you move that, that any changes teachers make before that date will not be picked up. So that's kind of the risk you run, is if you have teachers who are kind of going a little crazy trying to say, I've made these changes, why aren't you seeing them? You know, if you've pushed that date out, it won't be catching it.
Jesse, yesterday in a call with campus, they recommended that the date that it's posting back to match however many days you're letting your teachers go back. So if you've got your teachers going back 60 days, you wouldn't want your posting effective date to be less than 60 days back. So just keep them in sync.